We've got Republicans, independents, and Democrats that love Curtis Sliwa. I've seen more black people kiss and hug Curtis Sliwa than anybody else in this city. And yet, with all that said, Curtis, and good morning, Sophia Perez, with all that said, you need to quit. You are one selfish son of a bitch. Are you going to quit today or what?
No. And having the Naked Cowboys support in the gateway to the world, Times Square, all the tourists coming through, a lot of them know me because I have guardian angels all over the world, all over the United States.
Yeah, plus you've been on Sean Hannity, Mark Levin. You've been on national television for years.
Well, I got the big three. I got Sean Hannity supporting me, Mark Levin, and, of course, Sid Rosenberg. Does it get any better than that?
Not really, no.
All right, so let's talk about yesterday. The stepfather of my son, Anthony, again, I give him credit. Remember, he jumped in when my oldest son was getting that beat down by that gang on 96 and 2nd Avenue in the Upper East Side. You know, random attacks happening all over the city. But when I heard him talking, because I heard it later in the day, I said, this is sort of like the Public Enemy song, Don't Believe the Hype.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be moderate Democrats coming together to say we got to rally around one candidate. And I'm saying the worst messenger is Governor David Paterson. Why? He has political vertigo. He was the co-chairman for the re-election committee of Eric Adams, along with Frank Carone. It's a fact. Then he jumps over to Jim Walden and endorses 1% Walden. Then he went up to Harlem, endorsed Andrew Cuomo, and Zoran won Harlem from Andrew Cuomo. Now, yesterday, he declared himself to be a free agent. You almost don't want the endorsement of David Paterson. And stealing the show was Sid Rosenberg, the only non-Democrat there, proud Republican.
And I didn't speak, mind you. The Judge Weinberger spoke. He was very good. John Catsimatidis spoke. He was very good. Patterson spoke, as you talked about. I was standing there. It was very nice of John to invite me. But, Curtis, I never uttered a word.
You didn't have to. You stole the show because you came up to Governor David Paterson and you grabbed his tush.
I did.
His dupa.
I mean, I took my right hand. I didn't slap it like on a basketball court or a baseball field like you would do, Curtis. I literally grabbed his right ass cheek. It was a buttocks fondle.
And that is what dominated the news coverage. That went viral. Because let's face it, nothing came out of that press conference. Nothing other than we saw afterwards like two kids in a schoolyard, Adams and Cuomo arguing back and forth after spending a long, hard weekend in the Hamptons, chasing billionaires and zillionaires, while Curtis Sliwa was in Coney Island, the Lower East Side, helping homeless people and dealing with blue-collar working-class people. Now, all of a sudden, they're saying, no, you step down. It's sort of like, who's going to be Roberto Duran and go no mas?
Well, the highlight from me yesterday, which you wouldn't have seen, was there were 2 or 3 reporters, and they were dead set on getting somebody to say whether or not to John and to Patterson they would try to convince you to get out of the race. And again, nobody can, folks. Nobody. Not Nancy, not Sidney, not Lebedo, nobody. He's not quitting. Whether I want him to and I don't want him to, he's not quitting. But John Catsimatidis, actually got furious when somebody asked it 2 or 3 times in your defense. So I know he's basically endorsing Adams, but when the reporter kept asking him, hey, will you ask Curtis to quit? He was like, no, I won't. So for me, that was the highlight, Catsimatidis standing up for you at that press conference.
Well, because he knows I'm not stepping down. First of all, it's too late. Let's deal with reality. If you were to step down, you got to give back all your matching funds.
Did you get your matching funds yet?
I'm getting them July 15th.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're all getting them except for Eric Adams.
That means 1% Walden has to give all of his matching funds back. Cuomo got a lot of matching funds. He'd have to give them all back. And guess what? Your name is still on the ballot. There's only 2 major party lines. Zoran, Democrat, first line. Curtis Sliwa, Republican. And then try to find all the other independent lines. You got to go on you have to run through a maze. It's hard enough to deal with these scanning ballots. So the fact is that assume that Cuomo somehow dropped out. He's still on the ballot.
No matter what.
Everybody's on the ballot.
I mean, in essence, Cuomo has kind of dropped out. What do I mean by that? You're very enthusiastic in your run, and you should be. You're the lone Republican. You're polling pretty good, and you wake up with at least 25% of the vote. Adams is the incumbent. He's not going anywhere. And then you've got Mamdani, who's winning. So of the four of you guys, the one guy that is not really campaigning and never did, and really seems like he's not having any fun, is Cuomo.
No, in fact, I disagree with you.
What do you mean?
Imagine everybody's talking about you, and you're out there in the Hamptons enjoying yourself. Oh, he gets a vicarious thrill out of this because Eric Adams is so focused on Cuomo dropping out of the race. Meantime, to Team Adams, while you're spending all your time with the billionaires and zillionaires in the Hamptons, do you know what Zoran has been doing? Because I'm out in the same neighborhoods. He was in Rochdale Village and Baisley Pond Park with middle-class black family members taking Eric Adams' vote. Yesterday, he was in East Flatbush and Co-op City. These are black areas. And he's gaining steam while Eric Adams is spending all this time arguing with Cuomo back and forth who should drop out.
And hanging out with rich white people in the Hamptons. So correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm very rarely wrong. I know I said Mamdani wouldn't win. That was my heart. I'm very rarely wrong. It seems to me Cuomo won the black vote. He won that. You do very well with the black vote.
Yes.
Mamdani, as you talked about, has been campaigning. Say what you want about the guy. He's a socialist. He's a terrorist. We're all doing all we can to make sure he doesn't win, but he's doing it the right way. Okay? He's not hanging out with rich people. He's in the neighborhoods he needs to win. So is it fair to assume right now that of the four major candidates, sorry, Walden, that Adams would come in last in terms of the black vote?
Yeah, because remember, he's the one now thought to be side by side with Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is very popular in New York State and across the nation. Nobody disagrees with that.
Not in the city.
And not in the black community.
Right.
So if you're thought of as being a puppet of President Donald Trump, let's face it, Eric Adams is. He should be in jail. And he's brought all of his old cronies back who should have been in jail too, who left early, who was stealing money. $10 million he took in matching funds. That was in the indictment. You heard Joe Tacopina speak about that.
Of course. No, he's not the only attorney. There have been others
right.
that have said that they read the whole indictment. It's not about upgrading airplane tickets. Don't say that. That's what Trump said because he wanted to make sure people weren't upset with him because the truth is he kept a criminal out of jail. Were you not shocked a couple of weeks ago? You know, you remember after those two lovely people, one Jew, one not, were assassinated outside the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., Adams called a press conference, and it was another day where I went nuts on the mayor. Why? Because if you're going to hold a press conference and talk about anti-Semitism and what a sad day it was, two young people assassinated, as a Jew, a strong Jew, the last person I want to see on stage is Al Sharpton, okay? But he had him there. That's, Adams is full of it. He's full of it. He's got Sharpton on stage. And Sharpton comes out and endorses Ma'am Dammy, as he calls him.
We have a lot of reporters listening to you, the number one morning show in the nation. A lot of reporters. Why doesn't anybody ever go up to Eric Adams and say, what is your opinion on Louis Farrakhan? He supported you for Congress. The Nation of Islam collected signatures. You wanted a primary Major Owens, a congressman, because Major Owens and David Dinkins said that Louis Farrakhan should not speak in Madison Square Garden. They were correct. Why doesn't anybody ask him, what is your opinion about Louis Farrakhan now? Why do they protect Eric Adams from that question? I hope he denounces Louis Farrakhan. I don't think he's an anti-Semite. Cuomo's not an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite. Zoran is, because he doubles down. But under the radar screen, and I need to give props to our own Frank Morano, the brand new city councilman, South Shore, and to Joanne Areola, because yesterday they testified before the Charter Revision Committee. And I'm sure there were others. I didn't see it until about 3 o'clock in the morning. What Eric Adams has done, and you need to know this because he controls the Charter Revision Committee, and I know this getting in the weeds a little bit, but this is like, oh my God, Eric Adams gone wild. He is now creating an initiative on the back of the ballot that will give the city the opportunity to go into all the residential neighborhoods, basically bulldoze the private homes, 2, 3, 4 family homes, put up 40-story apartment buildings. They don't have to talk to the council person, in this case, Frank Morano or Joanne Ariola. They don't have to go to the community board. There's no zoning restrictions for his developer friends who wine dined in pocket line. Sid, your house, gone.
Wow.
40-story apartment building, and there's nothing you could do. And then who shows up to support it? And this is why you know that City Hall lies. Your friend Fabian Levy, deputy mayor of, public relations, he says, now, the mayor doesn't know that I'm here. I'm coming here of my own volition. And you all need to support this charter revision. By the way, there is an initiative there that would make it so that Republicans will never win an election again across the city, including for city council. So any Republicans out there who are thinking, oh, we need to support Eric Adams. No. A vote for Curtis Sliwa in this election, because I'm not going anywhere, is a vote against this charter revision, which would destroy residential neighborhoods. It's like the city of yes on steroids, and wipe out the Republican Party in New York City for all time. So if you want to be self-destructive Republicans, go with Eric Adams, who, again, like Cuomo, like Mandami, is in favor of migrants voting and is in favor of the sanctuary city.
About 3 minutes to go. Have you had any recent conversations with Ed Cox, with any of the Machas in the New York Republican Party, where they, even like a pep talk, hey, Curtis, it's Eddie, and I want you to know that we're still behind you. Forget about all these Eric Adams rumors. You're our guy. You're campaigning. Great, blah, blah, blah. Any of those types of conversations take place recently?
Yeah, every day. Chairman Cox was with me yesterday. We were going over the Get Out the Vote effort in all the Republican areas, especially where the president did very well and also where Lee Zeldin did very well and obviously where I did very well. Very helpful. And also the commission for the Budget Commission of New York City. He actually paved the way for me to make proposals there. I'm the only candidate who has actually said cut the budget. Department of Education, $41 billion. Every other candidate, Adams, Cuomo, Zoran, want to increase the budget. Money we don't have. So he's been extraordinarily helpful. The state GOP, as you know, Elise Stefanik has endorsed me. Congressman Mike Lawler. You had Nicole Malliotakis on, Congresswoman, has endorsed me. All the elected officials in New York City and the committee chair people, because they know if Eric Adams is reelected mayor, that's it for the Republican Party. He's said it over and over. I'm a Democrat. I am a Democrat.
But wait, he's in bed with President Trump, and he's allowing Tom Homan and Kristi Noem and ICE to do what they need to do.
Look, if I'm the president, if I was in Donald Trump's shoes, I couldn't fit into his shoes. You have the mayor of New York City by the short hairs. He's going to do anything you say. He's never going to stand up to you. He's never going to take a position that's in defense of what's best for New York City. He owes Donald Trump everything. There are 9 other members of his administration who should be in jail also. We don't have time to go through all the names, right?
But I know who they are.
Jeffrey Madry, especially.
He's
Mr. Caligula there at Police Plaza.
You're right. He owes it all to Trump, and Trump loves
remember,
it.
Trump has said don't prosecute them either. That's the deal.
Right. That's part of the deal. No, he loves every second of this, President Trump. He loves New York. It's still his favorite city. His favorite city is not West Palm Beach. It's not Washington, D.C. It's New York. And really, right now, President Trump is basically the mayor of New York. He's the president of the United States, and he's the mayor of New York. And he's also the deputy prime minister of Israel.
One last thing. Trump's transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, originally from New Jersey. You see in the Post today, he has demanded of the transit police, run by Eric Adams, he said there's a dramatic uptick in subway assaults, up 19% this year, up 66% since 2019. He's demanding You either restore order and safety on New York's transit systems or we cut the money. Remember, safety is provided by the city of New York, Eric Adams, and the transit police. So, clearly, the subways remain unsafe. And who's the only candidate who rides the subways every day? Curtis Sliwa.
Final 60 seconds. I think that a lot of people, including Patterson and the folks at the press conference yesterday, are resigned to the fact that the summer's going to go by. Like some, to be honest, if they were going to be honest, would want you to quit. But they're not going to be honest, okay? Now they're resigned to the fact that the summer needs to get by. Now we get to Labor Day. I think a lot of the people are saying the same thing. Come Labor Day, we're going to get a really much better picture of what this election may look like in November. And at that point, if the numbers just aren't there, sometime after Labor Day, maybe then we can convince somebody like Curtis Sliwa to quit. So we know you're not doing it now. They can ask you 100 times a day, all these idiots, Daily News, blah, blah, blah. After Labor Day, if the numbers are not there, would you consider it then?
Let me ask you a question. We're going to play musical chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Is it going to be a remake of Russell Crowe or Denzel Washington's Gladiators, or are we going to have a steel cage match? I am not getting out of this race. I am the candidate of the second and only major party in New York City. They are all independents. So if the independents want to play dropout, that's fine. Cuomo and Adams, who are like kids in a schoolyard now. When NPR, all things considered, says Curtis Sliwa is the only candidate taking the high road,